Just when did you decide that you needed to bring someone in for defense and why?
Well, I think the key for us was unfortunately we had lost two really good D, and we wanted to go through the gauntlet of seeing what we had, pulled some players up, and obviously you can see Lamoureux jumped in the hole and has done pretty well. But just over the course of games, since all the injuries, you're always looking in other sources to kind of better your team. So I think with what we acquired in Ole, he's a two-time Stanley Cup winner. He gives a lot of stability to the defense, and that's what we need. One of the big things that we're trying to do is cut our goals against down, and he's going to help add in that stability on the backside.
Bill, how important is it to bolster the veteran presence on the blue line, especially with the absence of Durzi and Marino due to those injuries?
It's huge. It calms things down. I mean, this guy's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's been in the heat of the moment a lot in the playoffs, and for us to add another Stanley Cup winner into that dressing room, that's huge for us. One of the things you see with their club, I think, and I talk about this a lot, but I'll say it again. I think we're the second youngest team in the league. So, you see games that we had the other night. We've got to calm that down and to make sure that we have good veteran presence that's going to allow us to walk out with the win.
Will this impact Lamoureux's contributions at all, or the amount of time he's going to play?
No, not really. They'll go in there and work through the rotation, and you see some games where Kesselring and Lamoureux play a lot more minutes, but I also think that when you add a guy like that, he can take some minutes, he can calm everything. Sometimes, the key to your defense is getting everybody in the right role in the right minutes, and not extending them into points where they're in situations that they shouldn't play, and then they look bad. And the club doesn't achieve in those moments because everybody's kind of out of whack and out of role, and they're exhausted because the minutes are too much. So I think adding Ole's going to help us put everybody in the right role in the right minutes, and with Lamoureux, I think he can benefit from that.
Will Mata be available tonight?
Yes.
And expect him to play?
I believe so. Yes.
So you'll have 5 left-handed defensemen on the roster now. How do you see that shaking out in terms of ice time and pairings?
I think it'll work its way out. Some games we might go with 6. Some games we might go with 70. We've done that rotation and we're successful last year. So we'll look at a couple different ways. I think our coaches have to go through the process of working through the D, figuring out the best 6 or 7 D, who plays well together, get that defense core to overachieve and get us through until our Marino and Durzi are back.
Bill, do you kind of foresee yourself making any more trades for defense or for even depth forwards, or is this Mata trade going to be it for right now?
Well, that's a good question. Every day I wake up with our staff, we try to improve the club. We're hungry. We built a lot of assets for these moments where we could help the club out and improve the club, and we're going to look to always improve this club. We talk about the process to go through. We can't make some of our guys get any older. I can't wake up this morning, like the other night I looked out and there's Gunther, Cooley and Lamoureux out in the ice with Keller, who's not that old either. There's some young players going on the ice. We can't make those players any older. They've got to go through the process. But if we can look to add around them and make them better by adding players that have some age and some ability to enhance them, we're always going to do that, and we've got the assets to do that. So every morning we get up, we're looking to improve the club.
How do you think your younger players, younger defensemen like Kesselring on that first pair, have kind of handled this opportunity, I guess, for them? Really
well. I think there's not a player in that locker room that doesn't want to move up into a higher role and play more minutes and have more impact. They're competitive people inside that dressing room. So I think for us, whenever you get a chance as a player to move up and get into a higher role, you get excited about that and you want that opportunity. So I think he's handled that really, really well. And he's had some moments, when he scored the big goal against Boston. He wouldn't have been on that ice if he didn't have that opportunity. So a lot of times those players are waiting for that opportunity, and hopefully they can get into that role and seize it and excel.
When did talks kind of pick up on this deal, and how fast did it kind of come together?
Well, you know what? I'm on the phones a lot. That's my job, and to plant a lot of seeds. And a lot of times you talk to GMs, it might be in the summer, and they're like, "Yeah, not right now, but call me back." And maybe there's something that comes to light. So it's the same thing as a Sergachev deal. It's one of those things that we probably talked about a long time ago, but it came to light, and we knew he was there the whole time. We'd done our research on him, and he's a quality person. So one of the things about being the GM is just getting on the phone and making the calls every day and see if we can improve the club.
Regarding this trade, is there more urgency to be competitive this season than maybe the past few?
Yeah, for sure. It's you see a good club out there, and you want to see if we can always push the limits of how good we can be this year. Doesn't mean we're going to win the Stanley Cup. But we're competitive inside that locker room. As a GM, you want to help your coaches out, and you want to show in that room that, hey, listen, they care. They're trying to improve the club. We've got a few bad injuries. What can we do to help that club out inside, and add a few players? So that's what we're trying to do.
Was Stone getting sent down more for his development, room for this trade, or both?
Anytime you see a player dip below 10 minutes of ice time at times, for me, you want to make sure that they play. I've seen too many players over the course of the year, my lifetime, I should say, in development and drafting them, where they're sitting on the bench for 3 years and they're playing 10 minutes. And the problem with that is that they're probably capable of more. They kind of get built into that role, and their development kind of ceases. Where, if we've got a great minor league club with a great coach down there, and they've done a great job developing. I don't see that situation any different than when we sent, Gunther down last year, and he went down there, and all he did was achieve and improve, and he came back up with a little bit of hunger. He didn't want to get sent down again. So, I'm hoping for the same thing with Josh. That he's going to seize that moment down there, play power play, play PK, play big minutes, be a big impact player down there, and when the club needs him, we'll recall him, and he'll be ready to take that next step in his journey.
You knew definitely Clement was a good prospect and a good player, but he's coming back from a shoulder injury. Yep. He's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
Are you a little bit surprised with the way he's playing so far?
Well, he played an exhibition game last year in Vegas, and one of the pro scouts from another team came up and he says, "Is he going to make your team this year?" That was last year. He's made great strides. Obviously, he reminds me a lot of Parayko, that I had a long time ago in St. Louis when he came in. They're very similar in their personalities. They're always looking to improve. They're there at the rink early, trying to get better. And so when you have a kid like that, and he's that size, and he shows that improvement, like, you never know what he can do. He's somebody that comes to the rink, and he impressed. From the time he was in rookie camp to the exhibitions season, and now he's gotten better, and he continues to improve. It's up for him to grasp the job, and he's got an opportunity again tonight to do that.
Is there an emphasis to be more physical out on the ice, and you feel like Mata kind of helps answer that call?
Well, he's not a massive physical player. I don't think he's going to change that for us. Lamoureux has that ability. Sergachev's thick body has that ability. Kovalchuk has that ability. We're always looking to get more physical as a club. I think that's something that we're looking to become better at and have more hits in the game. When you go into playoffs, there's probably 28 more hits in a game in playoffs, so it just revs up. So you want to get your team, obviously to have that physical side, because if you're going to be good down the stretch, you're going to need to play more physical. So we'll add that in as we move along. I think that also ramps up for players that sometimes you see them that don't hit, and all of a sudden they get down to those moments and they do hit. So, but we're looking as a club, obviously, to add some more physicality. And that will come over time. I think if you look at the kids that are eventually will come into this club, the Simashevs and the Boots of the world, and those guys, they'll add some more physical aspect into our game.
What do you know about Olli Mata the person as opposed to the hockey player?
Probably one of the most hardest working, best reputation as a human being in the game. He is. I've known him back from the days when I watched him play for the London Knights. His work ethic's incredible. It's contagious inside the locker room. He's a great person. He comes every day as a pro's pro. and tries to get better and tries to make the club better.